Hey, and welcome back to another X Talk episode. This time we are at Experts Life Switzerland in Bern, where the Swiss community meets to learn about the latest and greatest stuff from the Microsoft area. This X Talk is all about Azure Stack, and I have two experts with me. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself. Who are you, and what are you doing, and how are you somehow related to Azure Stack?
Yeah, thank you, Marcel. So my name is Thomas Maurer. I'm a lead architect at itnetX and the Microsoft MVP. And I work a lot with Azure Stack and Azure today.
Thanks, guys, to be with you. I'm Cyril Eigensatz from HPE Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and I'm responsible for the alliances between HPE and Microsoft. And the last few months, I'm on the road for and with Azure Stack.
Interesting. So this X Talk is really about the basics of Azure Stack so that the viewers will understand what Azure Stack actually is and means. So could you give us a quick overview, Thomas, maybe what is Azure Stack?
Yeah, of course. So Azure Stack really is an extension of Azure. So that means that you can run Azure services in your data center on your terms, right? So you can, whenever you have regulations or technical limitations which not allow you to run services in the Azure public cloud, you can use the same services on-prem in your data center.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm already convinced. So that was easy. Now let's say, I want to start using Azure Stack. How do I start? Do I just, download some bits and start installing that on my own servers, or do I need to order it? How does that work, Cyril?
Yeah, with us, you have one of the largest partners for Microsoft on your side to make this such a project successful. But you have to know that Azure Stack is a appliance, and you have several choices in the appliance to make your own configuration, but they are limited. And with us and our configuration process and our people behind this process, you could be sure to have the right configuration with you after this process. A few weeks after the discussion with us, it's installed on your side, in your office, or on your service provider side you prefer, and up and running.
Sounds good. So I can really order exactly the configuration I need, and it gets delivered, pre-installed, and I can just, start the servers and start using Azure Stack.
Right.
Is that true?
Sure.
Well, but when it comes to operations, or let's say integration of the Azure Stack platform into my existing data center, into my Azure subscriptions, Azure World, maybe we need one or two more steps, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So you need some data center integration, right? So you have to make sure that Azure Stack fits in your environment, and there are certain key scenarios which you have to consider, or key tasks you have to consider. One of them is definitely space, cooling, and power. It sounds very simple, but it turns out that when you deploy in a branch office or somewhere where you usually don't have servers, this can be tricky, right? The other thing you need to provide is a network. Sure. So you need to somehow connect Azure Stack to your existing network, and doing so, it also adds some challenges. It's not just plug in and wait for it. It's basically you have to work with your network guys to do the BGP configuration or do static routing. By the way, do please use BGP. But this is something you have to consider. And the next two parts are how do you integrate? Do you integrate billing and connecting to Azure, which Azure subscription are you using, which identity system are you using? So you can choose between ADFS or Azure AD. Mm-hmm. And then the next part will be how do I monitor that, or how do I really connect my existing monitoring or ITSM solution to Azure Stack, right? So most of the customers already have a monitoring solution in place. So Azure Stack internally monitors itself as an appliance, and it has a health API where you then can get the errors messages out and the alerts out, and then you can put that in your existing monitoring solutions. So that are basically the tasks you have to, like, when you want to integrate in Azure Stack in your own data center.
Okay, so after it's delivered, it still, well, needs some steps until it's really functional and I can start using the platform, right? Now, as I understand, is that Azure Stack is an appliance. It comes pre-installed. I don't have access, let's say, to the core of the platform. But what does that mean? Because I assume it runs on Windows Server, right? What does that mean from a updates management perspective? Do I need to install updates? Is someone else doing that for me? Or also, what happens if I have like a hardware issue, like disk failure or something like that? Cyril, how does that work?
Yeah, that's also based on the appliance approach. It's from Microsoft and also from the vendor like HPE. It's based on their process to build up and update the systems on a regular phase. You have to do this in some times or in a time frame, in a defined time frame also from Microsoft, to be compliant with the whole system around your Azure Stack. But it's also with your partner, also with us, we could do that for the customer.
Okay, but that means I somehow get the updates and I just need to click on a button
Right.
saying update it now and I don't have to care about it.
Right.
So it's really a full service that someone delivers, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Right? Cool. So now, Tom, you mentioned that I can start delivering, well, Azure services from my own data center. Now, as I understand, if I'm a consumer of these services, I just go to some portal and have like a marketplace-like thing, right? But someone needs to be in control. What services can be deployed on that Azure platform, Azure Stack platform, sorry. So it needs kind of an Azure Stack operator that manages this platform for the customers so that the consumers can start consuming services.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And yeah, we call it the Azure Stack operator. That's exactly what the role name is for that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. So as a consumer, if you would consume Azure, you would go to the Azure portal or use the Azure APIs, and the same thing for Azure Stack, right? You have the same API and the same portal experience. You have that consistency between Azure and Azure Stack. And yeah, you're absolutely right. There's not something like marketplace-like. There is the real like Azure marketplace in there, and the Azure Stack operator takes care of like putting items into that marketplace. So you can let them, as a consumer, use and leverage that. But that's, as you said, not the only task an operator needs to do. And he also needs to care of like capacity management, like if there are any alerts, deploying new subscriptions, creating new subscriptions, doing like chargeback or show back of consumed resources to the different departments, like taking care with the hardware vendors if there an issue occurs that someone fixes that, someone has access to the Azure Stack itself. If anything goes wrong or if something is not okay, you have to open up a support ticket and take care of this as well. So there's certain tasks you have to do, and you also have to make sure that the right people have access to it, and do some like access management as well to do that. And this is where it comes in when we have the discussions with customers talking about this. They say, okay, that's nice that we have this Azure Stack appliance, but we still need to do the operations, right? And that's the cool thing we announced, I think this week, is the managed Azure Stack from itnetX, which allows you basically to just consume Azure Stack, and itnetX and their operators or our operators take care of the operations. So we do all the processes in the backend for the customers if they want to use Azure Stack.
Okay, sounds good to me. And I guess the service works close together with our partner HPE for the hardware part of things. So to me, it sounds like a very consistent story. We actually did not talk about licensing today because we'll cover that in a second interview later. But for now, thanks guys for giving us some insights into Azure Stack, hardware side, but also from the operations side. And you guys, I really invite you to check out what Azure Stack actually is, what it can do for you, how it can help your business to deliver high quality services and start investigating into Azure Stack today. Thank you.
Bye.